And welcome to this wonderful episode of the Podcast Playground, where today my guest is no other than Chef Amadeus. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you on the playground. And we can talk flavors. We can talk just food in itself. Because look, I ain't get this shape by not eating.
Listen, food has been a part of my life. And when I say a part of my life, it's different than most people. Most people, it's been part of their life because it was their passion. It was something that they loved. For me, being in the kitchen came from being bullied. So when I was a kid, they wouldn't let me play any sports because I was always the shortest kid in the neighborhood.
So I tell you what, you went into cooking because they wouldn't let you. Because they were trying to get up on you?
I couldn't play any sports because they're like, you're too small to play football, basketball, anything. So I would go in the house and my mom and my grandmother were like, what's the problem? I said, they won't let me play. They won't let me play because I'm too small. So they would always say, well, just come on in the house and one day you'll find something that everybody wants you to be a part of. So I learned how to cook, clean, and sew. And then as I got older, not taller, just older, I started working with the girls that worked in home ec. They were doing home ec. And so because I was being bullied and all this good stuff, I found my key through women. Because if you were bullying me, but I helped your girl with her home economics, learn how to cook and bake and sew and all that stuff.
I see what you're doing.
She would tell you, leave him alone. And you ain't gonna listen to me, but you listen to her. So, and then when I got on the wrestling, when I got on the wrestling team, I kind of leveled out a little bit. But cooking has always been one of those things where there's no height requirement. You have to be good at it. You can't come in and say, well, I'm 6'5", so I can outcook you.
Right.
So you have to come in and do something that stands out. And so for me, I've always pushed the envelope because I wanted to stand out in front of everybody. And then even at the jobs I worked at, my first job was at McDonald's.
Mine was too.
But here's the thing about McDonald's. When I worked at McDonald's, the owner, Willard Payne, he would come in and unlike most owners, when he showed up, you wasn't scared or anything like that because he came in and he pushed you. You have competitions with him to cook the burgers and everything. And if you did that, you can talk your smack to him. He's like, all right, you got me. But he'll come back next day and get you.
Oh, wow.
So, but like I said, that led to me when I went to the military. I was a cook in the Navy, but I started off painting ships. And because I was very lightweight, I wake up in the morning, they hang me over the side of the boat, painting the boat. So when I had the opportunity to go and work in the galley, the senior chief told me, he said, hey, would you like to be a cook? I was like, nah, I'm good. I just do this because I'm just bored. He said, no, I want you to be a cook. So I became a cook in the Navy. And then when I got out, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I saw this ad in the paper said, come to school in Kissimmee, Florida. Never been to Kissimmee. I jumped on a Greyhound bus.
And went to Kissimmee.
Checked into school the same day and came back the same day. Told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm going to culinary school. Mom said, okay. And it's just been being around creative people that pushes the envelope. Like when I won on the Food Network in 2011 on Extreme Chef, one of the things that made me feel proud wasn't the fact that I won. That wasn't
the drive.
That wasn't the drive for me to win. I always tell people, you can't testify until you've been tested. And so I'm going up against two chefs. They don't know me. I don't know them. So now I have opportunity to put my skill set on Front Street.
Yep.
And when I won, they were like, so even on the show, I made black beans. The guy says, these are the best black beans I've ever had. I can eat a big bowl of these. my background is Puerto Rican and Southern. So growing up, I'm cooking Puerto Rican and Cuban food. That's just what I do. And then my final dish on the show, both judges and the host were like, they asked me, said, why would you put sweet on a steak? So my final dish was a dulce de leche crusted skirt steak with a charred salsa with toasted pepitas, and which is pumpkin seeds. And they were like, what made you put something sweet on a steak? Well, what most people don't realize is what I love to do is research. I want to know where these things come from. Putting cinnamon, putting something sweet on meat is a natural thing in Africa.
It comes standard.
That's what it is. Like when I work with kids and they're like, I want to cook African food. I say, okay, what do you call African food? Well, we got the ham with the cinnamon glaze on it. I said, you gonna put fruit on it? It's like, you don't do that. I said, okay.
I do every Thanksgiving.
So the thing about it is, I just love to cook and create to the point where I lived in Seattle for 11 years and it opened my eyes to so much things. Like here in Jacksonville, I feel like I'm culinarily claustrophobic.
Now, are you feeling that because you're seeing the same stuff repeatedly, or are you feeling that because the people around you aren't as creative as you? Because there's two ways that you can feel that.
Well, I tell you this. Sometimes I feel both ways. When I lived in Seattle, the chefs that I routinely work with, the black chefs out there, you can go out there. I do Japanese cuisine because there was a Chef Harold, black chef, does Japanese cuisine. So I got into yakitori cooking because of Chef Harold. My buddy Jeff, I saw him do a Japanese demo. I learned how to do Japanese food. All the Japanese food that was going to Japan on the airlines, I was helping him provide that. Chef Daisley, he does French cuisine. Sabrina does Italian cuisine. You see, everybody's doing something different. Here, I find that you're in the South, so you have to do Southern food.
You don't really find that creativeness to it. You find that everybody's trying to stick in the same genre.
Right. But so I do a dinner right now called the Tiny Kitchen Series. Only 10 people. And what I do is I want 10 people to experience the mind of a chef. So like last month was all seafood. So we did grits and fish. That's a typical Southern dish, right?
All day.
But how I did it is different. So what I did was I brought in strawberry grouper and I served it with a coconut curry grits with caviar, with golden caviar. Everybody was like, wow, people wanted to take the grits home because they never seen it done that way. And that's what I want to do. When you come to dinners with me, I want you to understand that it's a other side of the chef. And I tell people this all the time. If you really want good food in restaurants, do not order off the menu. If your restaurant has a chef, you go and tell the waitstaff, listen, can you tell the kitchen to send me out 3 courses, whatever it is? Or I'm allergic to shellfish. But besides that, send me anything out. Let the chefs and the cooks do what they do. They love it because it's out of the box for them.
Yeah, they got to actually think.
Because everything you see on the menu
is pre-prepared.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Everything you see on the menu is what they have in the refrigerator. So they can make you anything. They chose to do this, but they can do anything. So give them the opportunity to go to say, you know what? And when you do this, keep this in mind. Don't let them know you're not in a hurry, or your glass of wine, bottle of wine or whatever, and just wait for your specialty.
For those
Because you
creations
you
to come
you
out.
can't you cannot expect that chef to send you out something special in 15 minutes.
You get something fast in 15 minutes, but it won't be special.
Right.
Well, it'll be special to the menu.
So, and then for me, I'm all about mentorship. As I get older, I'm about mentorship. One of my mentors just passed away, Chef Joe Randall out of Savannah. He was the dean of Southern cuisine, amazing man. And he had a cooking school in Savannah, Chef Joe Randall Cooking School. And I always wanted to open up a restaurant, a small restaurant. Well, he and I would always talk about don't do a restaurant, do a school.
Right, because that way you're passing it on. You do a restaurant, people will still come eat at a school.
Yes.
They'll still do that all day long.
His school was, I went to a couple of dinners where he had people come in from Canada just to have his food. So with the Tiny Kitchen series, I've had people come in from Gainesville, South Carolina, from South Florida. They come up, St. Augustine. So that's what I'm trying to build here in Jacksonville is a place where people can come and be excited to come because it's not the norm. When I'm putting my menus together, has nothing to do with trending.
Yeah, it amazes me what people find trending, only for the simple fact that you see how many people keep it trending.
Yeah.
It ain't trending because it's really unique. It's trending because this is what the algorithm said is going to happen. So,
I have some chefs here in town that I have conversations with. I got some chefs in St. Augustine to have conversations with. And then when people ask me about, who are my favorite chefs in Jacksonville,
you say Jason White? I know. But it's okay. It's okay,
Actually, believe it or not, the first person that comes to mind when I think of great chefs in Jacksonville is probably Jazz Moore and Lewis Walker. Lewis Walker is the chef over at Timuquana Golf and Country Club, and Jazz is a private chef. Does amazing work. And then you have people like Chef Ashley from Fusion Food Truck. Love her. I like Tom Gray. And the reason I like Tom Gray is because he is the total opposite of what you think a chef is. Someone who's yelling and throwing and everything like that.
Yeah.
Tom, when I was in culinary school, we worked together, and I go to school on Monday, and Tuesday we come back, and he's like, so what'd you learn today? And I'm all excited to tell him what I learned. And he's like, all right, let me show you another way to do it. And I'm like, that's not what he did. He said, there's many ways to do different things.
That right there.
Learn all of them. That way you never know how you need to put it together. I worked with a guy named Sheldon Harris. He's the chef at Continental Club Continental. Yeah, I think that's what it is. He told me this, and to this day, I tell cooks the same thing. Every day, come up with a new recipe. You don't have to cook it. You just got to write it down.
So if you had to tell people your favorite dish, what would your favorite dish be? Out of anything that you've cooked, because it can't be out of something you haven't created yet, because creation comes every day.
Here's the thing. When people always ask me, they say, what's your favorite dish you like to cook? I always say the next one.
I know. That's why I said.
It's the next one. Now, the dishes that I've made in the past that stand out, I would say in Seattle, somebody asked me what's to make them they wanted an appetizer that was way expensive, too much. So what I did was I got a matsutake mushroom, seared it with green tea oil. I got lobster, poached it in cognac and milk.
That's so the cognac won't cook it.
So I did it with cognac and milk, just slightly poached it because you can cook it that far, and then I laid it down on top of the mushroom and reduced the sauce down had caviar on top, gold flakes on it. I love gold flakes.
I can tell you, Mr. Bling. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna make it rain gold flakes.
The gold flakes to me is
That's your calling card almost.
well. Here's the thing: it's just different. Like last month, we did at my the Tiny Kitchen series. The dessert was a chocolate burrito with whipped cream and crushed Oreos in it, and I served it with sweet tea caviar with gold flakes in it.
Okay.
So as you see, when I'm cooking, when I talk to chefs and say, talk about their business, one of the questions I love to ask is, tell me your mission statement. Some folks don't have a mission statement. And so for me, since I started my company, my mission statement has always been the same. It's to create a culinary experience even your imagination hasn't taken you to.
Yeah, but who are you off the clock?
Who am I off the clock?
Yeah, who are you off the clock? So when I say you walk into the house, I'd be like, what we doing? You know, I don't expect you like, let's go to the kitchen. But now, if we end up there, I'm not gonna be like, no, don't do this. I'm gonna be like, yeah, go ahead and put that pan on out there.
No.
You want me to get the butter? I got the butter right
Listen, the kitchen to me is my
safe place.
It's the place that I can't get bullied in.
But you can't get bullied in the bathroom. You can't get bullied in the bedroom.
That's true.
But I take that back. You might.
But for me, the kitchen is a place where it's an even playing field. And there's the ones that excel and there's the ones that continue to do the same thing. And if you're doing the same thing, it's okay. It's okay. I'm big into mentoring. So I work with high school culinary kids. I work with young chefs that's trying to be private chefs. And I mentor them because I was mentored. And two of my mentors that passed away, Chef Wayne out of Seattle, he passed away last year. And then Chef Joe Randall, always pushing to learn something new. And I want to work with, I have a young lady I work with right now. She come to work with me and she was like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. And when you have Black cooks and chefs that I work with that say, I've never seen this before, that lets me know you've been in a box and you think you're doing something good.
And you're still staring that same box.
You're still in the same
going
box.
outside of it.
You don't know how to get out. And one of the things I think leads to that is chefs that keep their cooks on short leashes.
Because they want reproduction of themselves. That's why.
My thing is this here. One of the best things that that make you a great chef, believe it or not, I believe is not being a good cook. It's your roots. Who came from you? If you're doing your podcast and videotaping and you have people come under you and you work with you and you see them, do their own Excel and
you get excited.
You get excited for them. You're happy for them. And it's not about, you don't get mad because they say, well, this chef helped me with this. You sit back because you know where it came from.
Well, it's not just that. You've realized that everybody you put out that you mentored is a piece of you. They might not do it the way you do it, which you don't want them to.
Don't want them to.
But they're a piece of you.
So for me, I work with young cooks all the time. And when they come out of cooking school, one of the things I always ask them is, make me a salad dressing. And they're like, what flavor? I say, it doesn't matter.
Just make it.
The reason it doesn't matter, and the reason to me it doesn't matter, to them it matters because when they were in school, they were told this dressing goes with that.
They're pairing. They're not looking outside the box.
So this is what I tell them. It doesn't matter. You're putting their dressing on something that has no flavor at all.
Right.
So make something.
You know what's funny? It's like through all the barbecue and stuff that I've done, as soon as I talk to somebody, they're like, oh, I got a pellet smoker. I say, stop talking.
Yeah.
If you around here rocking pellets, stop talking.
like this right here, this is the Southern Rub. Mm-hmm. I created this one. So all these have no salt in them. 0 salt. But this one I created in Seattle for ribs. And now I use it for ribs, chicken, baked salmon, bacon, all that stuff. But the interesting thing about this was the only spice that when I created this, I told people, I would give you the recipe for it. No, you go ahead and mix it. We don't want to do that.
You know what? That's what I did. I made my own rub up called Big Daddy's Rub. And I have one for chicken that's a little bit spicy, but not. And then I have the other one that I put on ribs. But I usually when I'm doing it, I usually season 24 hours ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
Before it even touches my grill.
So when I do steaks, I did a dinner, the Tiny Kitchen series. We did a bourbon and steak. My steaks came from Pine Grove Deli. They hand cut them. I get them the day before. I season them.
Yep.
Vacuum seal them. Put them in the
unseasoned stuff. Look, I got a guy that's driving way from Georgia just to Jacksonville just for my smoked shrimp.
Yeah. See. Yeah. And like I said, for me,
and I told him, I said, I teach you. I'll show you how to do it. He's like,
I want to do that.
Well, he said I did it once and it wasn't that great.
But here's the thing. People, when I go so I also do something called a door knock session. Love doing door knock sessions. So what it is I show up at your house and cook for you and 9 of your friends, whatever you have in your house. I just show up and cook.
Well, I got, let's see, one door. I got 4 doors. And I got time waiting on you to knock.
Let's make it happen. So here's the thing. People's like, you give people your recipes. I said, here's the crazy part. Most people just want to tell people, I got this recipe from Chef Amadeus. I ain't never
right there. That right there. Look, I got a guy.
I never cooked it in a day of my life, but Chef Amadeus gave me the recipe.
He's a good friend. He stayed on Palm Coast. I gave him some of my Big Daddy rub. His mom is Jamaican. And, she's like, I'm not bringing anything up to this house. You're not bringing anything up in this house. Now she right there cooking all her stuff with my rub. I said, your mom done made the rub into a multi thing.
But like I say, for me, cooking is more of just a passion. It's one of these things where as I get older, and I'm hoping, and I'm trying to mentor the younger chefs, that as you get older, you shift into mentor stage. Right now, I'm looking to leave culinary footprints behind so that the young cooks can come up and say, that's something I could do. So when I was in cooking school, there was a chef that made me mad. Never met the dude, but he made me mad. And everybody started laughing.
I don't even know him.
So
I'm mad at you.
When I was in cooking school, one of the things I wanted to do was be on the U.S. Culinary team. And I was like, I'm going to be the first Black on the U.S. Culinary team. Somebody said, hey, Darryl Evans did it already. I was like, what?
So you started not liking me. You're like, how dare he beat me?
How dare he beat me? So I said, I never heard of Darryl Evans before. So I said, let me do some research. When I tell you this dude was phenomenal, if you hear people talk about Darryl Evans, you're like, this dude must have walked on water. He was just...
Well, he put the work in and the time in
he
to
was
even
great,
get considered.
So, like, in Savannah last weekend, I was with a group of chefs, and one of the chefs is Daryl Schuler. Daryl Schuler is the first Black certified master chef in the country.
And that's awesome.
And so it's him and Sean Loving. And I was always, as a young cook, I was always under the impression that when you become a master chef, you become this big prick. You just treat people like, oh, you're not on my level.
I'm just going to walk across top of you.
But working with Chef Schuler and Chef Loving and the other master chefs, I was blown away. I was in New Orleans with these guys, and they were like, Chef Loving comes in and says, how you doing, chef? I said, man, look, I'm just trying to steal me some recipes. He said, oh, no, don't steal them. We'll give them to you. Chef Loving, Chef Schuler, the other chefs were like, here's how we did this. And they didn't just say da-da-da-da. They would take you step by step.
And that's what you want. But I tell you, I'm definitely going to have you back on.
Please do.
I'm definitely going to have you back on because, look, you done opened the lid on a pot that's sitting here simmering. You done opened the lid on a pot that's sitting here simmering. And let me tell you, I got a whole bunch of blackjack sitting outside.
Oh.
So, tell these folks where they can find you and find your podcast, so we can bring this circle.
So you can find me, Chef Amadeus, on Instagram, on YouTube. Also, let's see where else you can find me at. I'm my podcast on Instagram. Go to The Southern Passion Lounge. It's on IG. And like I said, always hit me up for anything you want about food. Whether you want to go to another city to eat or whatever like that. That's one of the things that makes me different. I know chefs all over the country, and I have no problem sending you to their restaurants and introduce you to them. So just look up Chef Amadeus. As they say, Google me, Chef Amadeus. Everything will come up. My spices are on sale as well. So all that, when you find me, you'll find the link to all that good stuff, and we'll have some fun. And all these are salt free.
And the Tiny Kitchen.
Oh, and
y'all can't be sleeping on that one.
Please don't sleep on Tiny Kitchen, because the Tiny Kitchen series is a monthly dinner. I send out the email and social media, and the first 10 people, that's it. The first 10 people. And in March, what we're doing is my background, Puerto Rican and Southern.
Puerto Sub.
Puerto Sub.
We're doing Puerto Sub.
So it's going to be a lot of fun, because I'm taking dishes from Puerto Rico and from the South and bringing them together. I'm really looking forward to my dessert.
Okay.
The dessert going to be, I give you a little tease. It's a pecan smoked cheesecake.
You know, that's something my wife probably going to be jumping over the top of the counter for.
What's that?
That what you just said?
Yep, there you go. So, yes. So, follow me, hit me up, and we'll make it happen.
All right. As always, we want to say thank you guys for joining us on the podcast playground, where today chefs came to play. And with that note, I'll holler.